Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 104th episode of the Manor Podcast. I'm your co-host, Roger Bodee, joined as always with my best friend and other co-host, Michael Hamilton. Michael, what did you have for breakfast today? What was your breakfast? What is the breakfast of champions, or former world champions, I guess?
So this morning I woke up. I was in at Michael Funk's house, and I woke up before everybody because I had a flight to catch at like 10:30. So I was like, what should I eat? And I look in the fridge, and we have leftover ham and bread. So I had a ham sandwich.
The Brody Spurlock breakfast.
It was a Brody Spurlock breakfast today.
I can't say that I've ever had that breakfast in my entire life. I don't think I've ever had a ham sandwich for breakfast.
Okay. I don't think I'm up to double digits on it yet, but I've had it definitely a couple times.
I don't think I ever will either.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah. I have something called standards, so it's fine. Not everybody has to have them. My breakfast was the true breakfast of champions, which is just a black cup of coffee. Can't beat it.
That's not breakfast.
That's perfect breakfast.
That's a drink.
One black cup of coffee. Actually, and then I had a second black cup of coffee. 2 black cups of coffee. That's all you need to get your day going.
That's all you need to get your day going, maybe. No coffee for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that why you won't have a ham sandwich for breakfast? Because you're too busy drinking your dirt water?
I mean, there's a myriad reasons for that. Although, I guess I shouldn't proclaim I've never had a ham sandwich for breakfast. What are these things called? Fancy.
Surely you've had like an egg and ham sandwich for breakfast before.
Brunch sandwich. What is this called? Monte Cristo. I've had Monte Cristos before.
Okay.
Do you know what a Monte Cristo is?
I'm pretty sure it is a sandwich that has like donut powder all over it, and it has jelly. I'm pretty sure it's got jelly and donut powder.
No, donut powder. It does. If you mean donut powder, you mean powdered sugar that is commonly placed on top of it.
Yeah, powdered sugar. That's
it's because
word.
it's a ham sandwich, but instead of regular pieces of bread, you use French toast.
Okay.
It's very good.
That makes sense.
You should try a Monte Cristo one time, and then you could count the Monte Cristos you've had in your life.
And then I'll be at like 4 or 5 ham sandwich breakfasts. Mm-hmm. If you count egg and ham, it actually is double digits. I think I was wrong. I don't know if egg and ham sandwiches count. Like egg, ham, and cheese. That's a classic.
I think I read that book when I was like 12.
What book?
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh.
Do you even know what that book's about?
I've never even heard of it.
It's about a count.
Okay.
And there's 3 musketeers. Anyways, enough about candy bars. So what, hold on. I'm forgetting something. I'm remembering something. I don't know how I could ever forget the world's best game store / sponsor / tournament host provider, the Realm Games, the sponsor of the MNR podcast. Wonderful, terrific people that you just played a tournament in over the weekend with.
Yeah, I love the Realm Games. We had, we were there, or I was there for the Realm Fest in New Jersey. Everyone was like, "Where is Roger?" I'm like, he didn't come.
It was my wedding. I celebrated my wedding anniversary with my wife this past weekend.
Congratulations. Mm-hmm. Happy anniversary.
We went away I've never been to a bed and breakfast before. We went to a bed and breakfast. It was crazy.
They didn't serve ham sandwiches for breakfast? That's crazy.
They did. I guess if you want to be, it was Canadian bacon on like all the breakfast foods are escaping me right now. Not an egg McMuffin. What's it called? Canadian bacon sandwich. It's got hollandaise sauce on it.
I don't know.
What would I do without Google, dude? How do people live their life?
So anyway, the Realm Games has great tournaments, and if you missed the Realm Fest in New Jersey, you missed a good time. Even though the meta is not in the best place, the tournament was still really, really fun, and I'm glad I went.
That's good.
Did you find out your sandwich name?
It's just giving me. It's not giving me the official name of the sandwich. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It was good. I slept in a bed and we ate breakfast. It was great.
Cool.
I got plenty of other weekends for card games. I think Tampa's in 2 months, and I think Gen Con's next week or the week after. Gen Con's in 2 weeks.
Did you know Gen Con sold out of full passes?
Oh, you never bought your pass, did you?
I never bought my
Well, it
pass.
looks like you're
So
not going to Gen Con, buddy.
I might just buy like a Thursday badge, which is like half the price of a full weekend badge for one day. I'm thinking about it. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but
I got all my
I
event tickets lined
procrastinated and
up.
got punished.
I got busy days Friday, Saturday, and then now I'm playing the Alpha Clash tournament on Sunday. I now own
Yeah.
real live Alpha Clash deck. I have a real life Alpha Clash deck list ready to go to win this 16-person whatever tournament they are hosting that's very small, and I don't even know what the prizes are. But by golly, I'm going to go there and win it because you won't be in that tournament. So I'm sure Roger Bodee first place is already locked up.
Take it down, buddy. You got
I'm going to
this.
play the Red White Warcry combo, get some, just put like billion power on like turn 4 into play. Seems pretty good.
It's not a billion. It's like 6.
Sure, just cheat your 6 mana 6/6 flyer that plagues wins the board every turn. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty good.
So that's what I'm going to do. But this episode is not about Alpha Clash. It's about Flesh and Blood, the game nobody likes anymore. Everybody hates it. It's all broken. Nothing's good about it anymore. And we've gone from a year of underpowered, nothing, untalented, blah, that everybody hates, and the most mathity math format ever, and heavy hitters that nobody liked. And now we're in stupid, overpowered talents. Everybody hates it because they're all dying on turn 2, apparently. This then Mysteria meta. It's just never a fun game ever, and everybody who plays it is just actively miserable, and woe is them.
What? That's.
That's you,
I don't
right?
think
You
that's.
you hate Flesh and Blood right now. You think it's the worst experience that anyone could ever do in their entire life, and that's why you flew across the country to play in a card game tournament for it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just flew across the country to play in a card game tournament for it. Well, like half the country. Indiana to New Jersey is not that. Not like across country would probably be like California.
Half cross country.
Anyway, I flew pretty far to go sling cardboard in Flesh and Blood.
You came in second
So
place in the tournament.
yeah. I think we're actually covering my finals game for university soon,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not very proud of how I played that game. I kind of I just feel like the gears fell off or something. I don't know what the phrase is.
The
But
wheels fall off.
the wheels fell off. I just made a lot of mistakes, and that's not a good thing to do in a finals of a tournament or any point in a tournament really. But oh,
That's fair. But so that was in Blitz, right? Do you have anything to say about Blitz?
Blitz is not in a good spot right now. The top 4 of that tournament was 4 Zens. There were 5 Zens in the top 8. I think that Zen is the best deck, and it is not particularly close. I don't know what even is on the same level. Probably nothing.
Michael Fung hopped in the booth for top 8, and I think his direct quote was, "The Blitz Zen deck is the most broken Flesh and Blood deck list he has ever played in his entire history of playing any Flesh and Blood deck since he first started playing back in Shane meta."
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I kind of was thinking the last time we've had a deck that was like this far ahead of everything else in Blitz was when Viscerai was the best deck in Blitz, and then he L'd pretty quickly. I suspect that if Zen goes untouched, he will be winning a lot of tournaments going forward.
Good thing there's like not some kind of local game store fun, not very competitive Blitz kind of season where people would be like not quite like battling, but maybe like skirmishing in like this kind of format. Like it'd be really unfortunate if the state of that meta was like extremely broken right before everybody was about to embark on like tournaments all over the world for it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how they didn't touch him in Blitz in the ban list, especially considering like he has access to everything in constructed and also belittle minnowism, which is a very good set of cards. And when you can play a red 1 for 4 that enables transcend, that's pretty good. It's pretty strong.
I would believe that.
Or you can play a blue 1 for 4 that enables transcend because you play your blue belittle and you'll get a red minnowism. That's
To be
also
fair,
very
what do you even ban out of that deck? Traverse?
I do think a traverse ban makes a lot of sense because it kind of fits their philosophy with Blitz equipment banning. They banned Heart and Crosstrap, which gives you 2 resources. They banned Mask of the Pouncing Lynx because it's a hat that's worth like 5 flat value, 5, 6 flat value. And Traverse is worth more than either of those. It's worth 3 resources, 2 block value, and also you can get your Inner Chi, which is very, 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 very good and lets you tutor your deck for any card, which is basically Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, but also you gain 2 life when you block with
Yeah. And I was going to start to
it. And a
say,
Tiger.
the Storm Striders was banned for a while too, so they've even had precedent of banning legendaries in that format.
Yeah, and I believe Crown of Seeds also got banned before Oldheim LL it out. I don't know if it's still banned, but
Probably everybody hates Crown of Seeds.
I don't think everybody hates it. Some people love Crown of
I like
Seeds.
Crown of
The
Seeds.
the vocal, there's a lot of vocal people that hate Crown
There's
of
a
Seeds.
lot of vocal people who hate a lot of things, myself included. So
That's true. I feel like it is common that the people who hate things are the most vocal about
yeah,
it.
nobody else is shouting, I love the game right now. I'm so happy. I wish everything was great right now, then it stayed forever because I'm the happiest person. You don't see a lot of those public statements very often.
Yeah, I think that's I think that the no bans in Blitz was just kind of an oversight by LSS. We have precedent for banning things before they destroy a tournament scene when they know that's going to be problematic. Like Stubby Hammers got banned before anyone was playing it in Blitz when they printed Phi. Um, I'm sure there was something else where someone was dominating constructed and they also got something banned in Blitz as well, but I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Stubby Hammers is the only one that comes to
And it
mind.
shows like where their focus is at overall, right? Because there were adjustments to the Living Legend format ahead of skirmish season, and I think a lot of emphasis is being placed on Living Legend at the moment, especially as like
Mm-hmm.
a viable competitive tournament they're kind of hoping for. But ultimately, Blitz I don't think is ever going to be meant to be, like they even said, like a competitively viable tournament ever again, right? Or like format.
I don't know because I remember they were talking about having Blitz at Worlds again. I thought that was something that they were interested in doing, but maybe I'm completely mistaken. Um, but currently, I think Blitz is in a pretty horrible place. I think, like I said, I think Zen is like way too good. But then after that, Victor and the Brutes are also like still like a tier above everything that doesn't deal arcane damage. So anything that's trying to like attack with physical attacks that is not Zen is probably dead to Brutes and Victor. And then we have the wizards, the Emperor, and I can't. It's not
Blaze.
Flare. Flare's the Alpha Clash. Blaze, yes, as the other kind of like corner of the meta game. So I think like those are probably the heroes that if Zen gets taken down, I think those 4 or 5. I guess there's 3 brutes. I don't know if Leviah is very good in Blitz. I have not played enough with Leviah, but Rhinar and KO are both quite good, and neither of them can beat Zen very often.
Yeah, I mean, there were frequent turn 0 or turn 1 kills with Zen over the weekend, right?
I wouldn't say frequent, it, unless a lot of the time Zen kills on his second turn, because the first turn you transcend and then you immediately block with your traverse and go get your chi back and then you kill him. It's not usually like the first turn he gets to play the game he kills you, but a lot of the time he can leak a chunk of damage turn 0 and then kill you on his first full turn after you do whatever you do on your
But
turn 1.
not killing you on turn 1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After you deal less than 26 damage or whatever you need to kill him through his armor, then he kills you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And one thing that's like very weird about the Zen matches is the best way to survive that kind of thing is you make a Zen state token. So Zen actually is pretty good at not dying to Zen on turn one because if you also transcend, then you just make a Zen state token and you get to live you get to live a couple turns and then you try to kill them.
Woohoo.
It's so healthy and invigorating.
It's just true
I don't know if that's
enlightenment
the
that
right
the
word.
best counter to Zen is Zen, you know?
Yeah.
But apparently, he's still also broken in Classic Constructed.
Yeah, I I think that in Classic Constructed, Zen is still the best deck, but I think it's like much closer than it is in Blitz. Like, if you bring another hero to a Classic Constructed tournament, I do not think you are inherently like not giving yourself a good chance of winning the tournament. I think if you're trying to win a Blitz tournament, you should not play anything except Zen. Classic Constructed, you can play heroes that have reasonable Zen matchups. I think Nu and Victor come to mind as like heroes that are at least capable of targeting Zen. Whether or not they're actually favored into him is kind of another discussion point, but they at least have reasonable matchups into him. They have like the tools to kind of like disrupt him and try to keep him from having his giant pop off turns.
Yeah. I think it's crazy how little respect Nu has gotten since like the beginning of the format. I think even in national season in week 2, it was becoming pretty clear that she was like a good counter or reasonably competitively viable as like a metagame check to Zen. She won more nationals on week 2 of national season than Zen did. And it was I listened to Brian Gottlieb recently have a, developer interview basically where he talked about the state of the game overall, and he said that they wanted to open up the meta more than kind of just converging it all around Zen. And I still feel like at the end of the day, the metagame's still going to converge all around Zen and counter Zen picks.
Yeah.
So I think if that was kind of the goal, then I don't think you wanted to tone him down or like that low of an amount. I think you would want to tone him down a more substantial amount. Maybe ban all of bans of of ancestry. Like that probably would have been a more significant tone down instead of just leaving him with the reds. Or
Yeah. One common idea I heard.
the ancestral harmony, that blue. I think that blue really is problematic. But yeah,
Yeah. Especially with or in combination with Bonds of Ancestry, the blue is often like a 0 for 3 or a 0 for 4 if it misses. And if it hits, it's just like a 0 for 8 or
that
9 or
enables
something.
transcend and blocks 3. It's just like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So it's like average value is probably like, I guess like if you use it on turns where you're planning to go wide anyway, its average value is probably like 6 or 7, which is kind of nuts. And it also turns on transcend. It just does a lot. I think Levels of Enlightenment also a card that is just like the most above rate just rate card we've had in a long time. It's just like,
Yeah, but that would impact new, man. Don't do that. Let new in it.
yeah, it also impacts Enigma. Enigma definitely wants levels as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah. I get that that card's good, but I don't think Zen isn't winning off the back of levels of enlightenment, right? It's more the crazy combo go super wide with Art of War, Ancestral Harmony, million chain links kind of thing, and like
yeah,
levels of enlightenment can be used in that chain link and that turn cycle, but it's not like a backbone pillar of the deck, I guess. And like it's not in my mind.
yeah, I kind of think levels is like, I think Zen would get a lot weaker if he lost levels
Sure.
because like if you go through the CC decks with Blitz, you don't really have this issue where you have like your 9 transcend cards you get to play. That's like almost half the blues you want to play. But in CC, you have to find a decent amount more blues to get your deck to like slightly more than half blues, which is I think where you want to be. So touching levels would hurt a lot because suddenly you have to replace levels with like a blue head jab or something, and that's just like awful.
Yeah, but I guess I get what you're saying, but if the goal was to just only impact Zen and take Zen down a level from that
Yeah,
perspective, then I don't think banning cards
that
like
doesn't make sense.
uh, Levels of Enlightenment or Art of War or like cards like that that are see more ubiquitous play than just in Zen, because that's kind of punishing other heroes for the sins of Zen. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think one band that I heard a lot of talk about that I think could have been reasonable is banning his shoes, the Stride of
Yeah.
Reprisal, I think. Make a tiger when you block with him. A lot of the time that just like turns into a full card with Art of War and gives you 1 point of value.
Mhm.
And a full card on your Art of War turns is pretty good.
Yeah. But all that being said, this is a long roundabout way of saying that I think Nu v Zen is one of the most fun, interesting, and skill intensive matchups that I've ever seen in Flesh and Blood overall, where when people don't know the matchup very well or the ins and outs of it, I've been like 20-0 into people who don't know the matchup as well as I do. And then I'm like maybe 60-40, like slightly below into like experts. But then again, I haven't put a lot of time into Zen or Nu lately, and I'm sure there's even more ways for me to refine my list and then get even more experience in the matchup and kind of pivot to their pivots. And I think that's really underappreciated. Where even if it were just Nu and Zen, and that was the only two decks in the metagame, and most matchups came down to Nu mirrors, Zen mirrors, or Nu v Zen, I still think that would be incredibly skill intensive and fun overall. And I think you have even played a lot of Zen v Zen mirrors, and you think that's really skill intensive.
Yeah, I think like between like your deck list and the decisions you make in a game, there's a lot of like really tough decision points. Specifically, like I think Zen State is something that is quite powerful in the Zen mirror. If you have a Zen State token, a lot of time that is worth like 7+ life over the 2 turns that you have it in play. And using that at the right time, giving up your chest at the right time is, I think, quite skill intensive. Needle is a weapon that you do not want to swing every time you have an extra resource around. Um, sometimes you sometimes your opponent wants to just pop it with their 3 blocks, and I think that is also really relevant in the Zen mirror is when you choose to swing your needles and when you choose not to.
That makes sense.
In Blitz, you just always swing them, but in CC,
Sure, the games are 2 turns long. There's no reason not to.
yeah, yeah. But in CC, I think they are quite important. And then just like a deck that's like full of tutors and like draw random cards. Like there's a lot of EV calculations on every decision you make a lot of the time because you're playing like very often you're playing levels enlightenment, choosing draw and go again, and in response you're activating Zen. So you're very frequently tutoring your deck with 1 card in your hand unknown, and I think that is not a decision that is like you're just not going to get it right or correct all of the time. And I don't actually like you should basically be doing a lot of like super complicated math every turn to get the perfect the tutor for the perfect card.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And with the Nu v Zen matchup, it comes down to predicting when they're going to try to have their big pop off turn and making sure you have the relevant disruption on that lineup and that you can also mitigate the armor. So a core way that I play the matchup is also just trying to get them down low as fast as possible. So kind of like racing while disrupting. It's why I like cards like Scar for a Scar or Razor Reflex or just like a more streamlined, slightly more aggressive version of Nu, because the sooner you get Zen into states, Zen state, where he needs to block or those equally low life totals, you are also not only threatening just every attack is then hand disruption, which is a nightmare for him, but you're still an assassin with tricky attack reactions, which are incredibly hard for people to play around in end games. So you get like that double whammy where he doesn't really want to be blocking. He's not great at blocking, and he doesn't play really defense reactions. Sometimes maybe, but a lot of the time also no. Kind of depends on the list.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way I've always approached the matchup, and it's been, like I said, really successful most of the time.
Yeah, I think you've made this comparison a lot in the past, just comparing Nu to Icelander, where like you have to get your opponent dead. You can disrupt them over and over and over again, but if you're just like doing that and not killing them, eventually they'll find a window where they have a really big turn. And
Yeah,
if you kill them, then they have to find that window a lot faster if you're just like presenting a bunch of damage. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I like Scar for a Scar as an inclusion in the new deck. I have not seen it a lot, despite it looking very good every time you cast it. So
Nobody listens to
I
me
don't
at
know.
this point. I'm not a real Flesh and Blood player, anyways. Like I fiddle around with Bolton cards in leagues, anyways. I'm not playing new these days. I'm playing Bolton with the sweet new armory decks. My match came out this past week. We can cover that on University too, where I beat up an Enigma. I won. The, like
Nice, good job.
it was like 20 to like 5 at one point with me being at 20 or like 20 to 8. It was I got the new Real Dead real close, and then they played like the Transcend specialization card, and they played a mirror guy off of it, and then I ended the game at 1 life total point. But 1 life total point's all you need.
That's all you need. I was gonna say that does sound like not an atypical Enigma game. You're like down like a bunch of life, and you're like, all right, we're playing Mirror Guy. We're either riding this to victory or we're dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had a lot of really impactful breakpoint interactions that were really annoying for Enigma to deal with, basically by timing like a Raiden attack, giving it +1 with a beacon, and then playing the Luminat at instant speed to go over like +1 or +2 over just those little micro breakpoints, kind of to pick up the mirror guys or other big ward cards. Can be really annoying for
Yeah,
Enigma to deal with, because you don't want to waste a whole defense reaction or something like that on just over 2, because then you have the next attack to worry about anyways. So yeah, that was kind of how I leveraged that matchup really well, by just making sure that my attack reactions created as awkward as breakpoints as possible on a turn to turn basis.
yeah. I think that's like why I generally prefer my Enigma decks to be aggressive and just killing my opponent rather than trying to protect the auras. It's like it's so much easier to protect your auras if your opponent has 2 or 3 cards in hand because they had to block with a card or two.
Yeah,
If
they
if they're just playing 5 card hands at you with like attack reactions and go agains and stuff, it's just and weird breakpoints. You're just like, how do you protect it? You just can't.
yeah, but at that point, then you have a bunch of attack actions in your deck, and Bolton likes when you have a bunch of attack actions in your deck too. So
Yeah. That's my general philosophy on Enigma, not specifically just against Bolt. And where normally the attack actions blocking 3 is fine. You just block 3 with them when you want to block.
mhm.
Against Bolton, that is definitely
A worse
worse.
proposition, yeah. But my next matchup's against Zen this week. It'll be Bolton v Zen.
Ooh, okay. That sounds rough because while the Zen deck is filled with attack actions, also they were not going to block with them anyway.
Yeah, so I'm playing a hybrid package, and my plan is just combo, and just hope my combo is faster than their combo.
Good enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. It could be kind of nice if they're trying to have their pop off turn if you just like aren't attacking them that turn because you have your 4 soul or whatever you need or your 3 soul and you're just waiting to draw the Luminas. That makes sense to me.
yeah. I very much plan on, after I get my soul set up and my spirit down, to basically just not attack anymore, to not let them get transcend value until I'm ready to go off. So that's kind of my plan in the matchup. We'll see if it works. I'm not optimistic about it, but you know what? By golly, Bolton's gonna Bolton.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Bolton's gonna Bolton and you're gonna be a part of it.
Yeah, at least in this league. If I was going to Pro Tour, I wouldn't play Bolton. I'd 100% play New in Pro Tour, but
Yeah.
I definitely do think the equipment that he got is really powerful. It's good equipment.
Yeah. I think if I had done this like testing session with Michael and Bodee like a month ago, I probably would have booked a flight to Amsterdam. Don't think our I don't think where we were at was anywhere near finished, but I felt like we were moving in the right direction. I felt very good about that leading up to the Pro Tour. But
Playing Bolton?
no, playing Zen. An approach to Zen that I think felt quite solid in the mirror.
That's fair.
Which is important.
So, as far as looking to the future of Rosetta, though,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like, to me at least, in theory, there's going to be a lot more opportunities for, I guess, interaction has kind of been a lot of a talking point I've seen lately on social medias, where since Zen is so explosive and most decks are just trying to race it as fast as possible, but failing to do so more that often than not. It really feels like Nu is the only deck that really has the tools to like interact meaningfully with Zen, and things
Mhm.
like ice or impactful guardian on hits really aren't really where they used to be with the increase of copious of fridges blocking armor. Just the crush cards aren't what they used to be either. So I guess long story short here, I'm not really super optimistic about getting more meaningful interaction in Rosetta based on like its premise.
Yeah, we do know the Earth, the Earth Majestic that's already been spoiled, that it like attacks for a lot of damage, and if you banish cards, you both players have to discard a card from their
Mhm.
hand. If you banish cards from your discard, I don't remember the name, don't remember the exact numbers and
Felling of the
values on it.
Crown.
Yeah, so I think just like if Earth gets access to a lot of disruption, which doesn't feel the most earthy, but the first majestic they printed is disruption. Maybe there's room for that to be good. I think if you're just like trying to block and gain life and hit your opponent down with blocking and gaining life, I am very worried for our Earth Wizard, but we will see. I do not expect the lightning decks to be too disruptive.
Yeah, and even if the Earth decks are based around gaining life, setting up these embodiments of Earths, things like that, embodiments of Earth are good at blocking tall attacks really well. So rip Guardians again, but they're not really
Hey,
good.
Victor's in a fine spot right now.
Rip Victor soon more, but they're not really good at blocking wide effects. Where
Yep.
if that's the most powerful deck and the deck is going 50 chain links wide, it doesn't. You could have 20 embodiment of Earth. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, though part of the part of the deck's big turns, they are like 6 or 7 links wide a lot of the time, but they're also playing 2 or 3 anthems, which means your embodiments of Earth can block their head jab for 6.
Wow,
Boom.
value. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah,
I guess I miss ice. I wish there were. I'm sad there's no ice inclusion in this set.
yeah. I really don't think Icelander would be particularly great against Zen. I think him having such a high blue density and um,
I don't.
him having such a high blue density would make it a little bit hard to actually kill him. But I think something like Ice Lexi could line up quite well against Zen.
Sure.
Something just or Oldheim
I don't think Bull
ice
Lander would
reacting.
line up well against Zen, but if you could figure out a more strict arcane version, uh, that those cards existed to deny traverse value, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah. If hypothermia is back on the menu also, that's pretty good against combo cards that don't have go again naturally.
Yes, hypothermia would be good. I even think things like Insidious Chill with Aether Ice Vein. I couldn't remember that card. That card should just be imprinted in my mind forever. But uh,
Yeah.
Aether Ice Vein, just the double rip of hands. He really needs those extra cards in his hand to go as wide as he does, obviously. And if he's not getting the block value off of his shoes to create the extra tiger, and he's not getting the extra block value off his hat to get the free cheat card, that does slow him down and like impede him in a pretty significant way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like traverse the universe is probably the best equipment we've ever seen, and at least like maybe like Skeleton and Courage Blade Hold are above it, but like the most like just like without doing any extra work, it's just very 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 good, and just blanking that completely does seem like a powerful prospect.
Yeah. Uh, so I know you haven't been the happiest with Flesh and Blood overall over the past like 6 months, just because of like the increased amount of variance specifically. Has that changed over the past weekend, even though the power level is higher and maybe the variance still might be higher? Do you at least still think like it's a very skill intensive game overall?
Yeah, I think the better player is going to win more often. Still, I don't think it is nearly as much as it was back in like Tales of Aria days, but I think there is some of that, or a lot of that still going on. I don't think all like there's a lot of reasons I've been playing less Flesh and Blood recently, and one of it is yes, the games feel like higher variance. I actually think Enigma felt quite high variance despite being a hero that I like kind of liked. I think she was probably even higher variance than Zen for
Sure.
a multitude of reasons. Whereas Zen's just like pretty consistently like doing his thing, and he's gonna have a big turn at some point. And the big turn could be 30 damage or 50 damage depending on how well you draw. But uh, I think kind of like Zach stepping away from the Wolfpack stuff has made the team feel like it's definitely not the same. And I did a lot of my testing just playing Talishar games with teammates online, and I feel like that's kind of changed a lot since Zach left. I haven't felt like the same drive, and you also aren't really playing with the Wolfpack, so like I kind of feel I don't want to say less attached, but like I'm definitely playing. I definitely don't feel the same drive that I did before to play all those games. I think another part of it is I don't really love any of the heroes right now. I played a ton of KO getting ready for the Heavy Hitters Pro Tour, and I didn't like KO very much, but I thought it was the best deck. I still think it was the best deck for that tournament, and I just didn't enjoy the hero very much. I also think KO is much higher variance than Zen as well, and that's probably part of why I burn out so much playing KO.
Dice rolling, actual high variance.
Yeah, yeah. Rolling dice, making Blood Rush Bellows with 2 cards in hand and being like, please discard the Beast Within and not the Wild Ride. 50-50 to like have like
Yeah.
a 25 damage turn, and the other time you're like, we're going to swing a claw and then roll Scabskins and hope.
Yeah.
It's just, so I I ultimately think the game is not in nearly as bad of a spot as maybe the Twitter post that you were talking about feel make it sound like. I do think Zen is actually reasonably skill intensive and or quite skill intensive. I think that he is actually reasonably low variance. You just like always do this thing. It's just very, very
When you can
broken.
tutor your deck over and over again, that's pretty low variance. Turns out tutoring is
Yeah.
pretty low variance when you're getting the exact card you want to be getting in a circumstance.
Yeah. And I do think if I enjoyed Zen's playstyle more, just like being like a very powerful, aggressive deck, and maybe even give him more of a chance, I would probably enjoy the game more.
I'm still baffled you
But
never even like attempted to play Nu or gave Nu any reasonable chance.
yeah, so Nu felt unplayable in Enigma
Sure.
once Enigma figured out what she was doing, and I was really excited about working on Enigma, and then basically by the time I had figured out my Enigma deck and I was looking at the new list that existed, they all looked so
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Well, I would even just last week I was watching some testing games and it's like they draw their hand and it's like Hiss, Venomous Bite, Codex, Fate Foreseen. And it's like what do you do with this hand? It doesn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Hopefully block 10 and play Codex, I guess.
That's we talked about it
But
already.
if you're
Just Scarfers, like the fact that the community at large has been seeing the success with the new list that they have been, like baffles me a little bit because like you said that like you will brick on those hands. I was playing games against Bodee just like
yeah.
because he wanted new reps and I was like, okay, I can give you some games. And I loaded up literally a nationals winning new deck list because I was like, you don't need to face this bizarre Roger Jake. Nobody plays the good cards. I'll play everybody else's new list. It's fine. And I drew like the Hiss Venomous Bite Codex Fate Foreseen hand and I lost the game on the spot. And I was like, why in the world do I have Venomous Bite and Hiss in my deck with only 1 power blue assassin cards to target them? Like there's no red assassin cards to target them with. There's
Yeah.
only these blue crappy 1 power. I guess there's Leave No Witnesses as the other target, but it's like I have 6 no sorry 9 then red attack reactions that can only target like the same 12 cards, and that's That's not a good ratio for 9 cards that can target 12 cards, 12 to 15 or whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
it's a card that can just hit your weapons or any is it like low cost, zero cost card, Razor Reflex. It's a great reaction. Just you get a Razor Reflex. Boom, do it.
yeah. I so at the Realm tournament, there was a CC tournament on Saturday and then the Blitz tournament on Sunday, and I played Zen and CC. My round one, I lost to Levi. I think I played that game like as horribly as possible. But then later in the tournament, I played against a new, and that was actually my second loss. And they played Plunder the Poor, which I am not sure if that is
Contract
the
new.
correct answer, but at least they are like giving more targets for these hisses and venomous bites. So I get the thought behind it. And
Yeah, and there's even already dead. Like I went
yeah,
deep on Hiss and Venomous Bite like when the in my first builds of new because they are very powerful cards. Like when you do
yeah,
their thing, I am not denying that yes, they are very, very powerful. But their floor is literally unplayable reds that you have no way to functionally use other than
you
pitching
pitch them
them.
for one.
And that floor is atrocious when you already also have many other cards in your list that have atrocious floors like uh, Siren Song, which is literally one resource, discard a card as its floor. Like, I just
Yeah,
think there are better ways to smooth out the deck to make it more consistent while keeping its power level very high. That is pretty, I guess, bewildering to me. Not to say like I'm like the world's smartest person, because I'm sure even my build of new that I haven't touched in a month at this point could have been refined and worked on even further and made to be even more consistent. But I really don't think it involves cards like Hiss and Venomous Bite. I think there's other ways and more interesting things to be doing with the deck than those cards, and the persistence of them throughout the community, I think, uh, is surprising to me.
yeah, and I think like that's kind of what drew me away from playing new is like new is a deck that very frequently is going to take cards from your opponent. You're going to make your opponent's turns worse. You're going to play your like you're going to play your use your hat and attack with command and conquer and do all these things. Attack with bonds of agony, attack with whatever prognosis. You're gonna
Persuasive,
make your
yeah.
opponent's turns worse. And maybe you'll leak a couple damage on the turn that you make their turn worse. And that's great. You leak 3 damage and they don't do anything back. And then you draw your next hand. And if your next hand converts to 5 value, that whole advantage is just like down the drain.
Yeah.
So I also think that's like part of why I don't love Victor is Victor can take your opponent's whole hand and then you draw test of strength trounce. And I'm just
I
like,
was there. I was
I
there.
I do not want to be doing this. And like I think Victor is really, really powerful, but that's just like the clash variance isn't even what bothers me about the hero. It's like I strip your hand and then I draw these block cards that I can't arsenal, I can't do anything with. And that's why I hate that. And I think like looking back to how we built Bravo forever ago when we were playing Bravo at like Worlds and the Battle Harden that we played in the finals of, I was very deliberate in like trying to make my deck as able to do something as possible. I never wanted to like take their hand and then draw 4 blues that don't do anything. So
Exactly.
I played a lower blue count than most Bravo decks because like as long as you draw 1 blue, you can probably send like a choke slam or whatever on the next turn, which is like not amazing, but sending choke slam, arsenal, crippling crush, or spinal crush is fine. That's like reasonable.
Yeah.
And drawing 4 blues, even if you had a blue that did something like you have Terrace under, let's say, which it doesn't do a lot, but because you're on Titan's Fist in most matchup, but if you draw 4 blues and one of them does something, you can play one and then you still have the Arsenal one. So I think like even though it sucks to like draw all reds, I think Bravo actually was a deck that needed to like take that risk and play a little bit more red heavy than maybe people wanted to.
You know what?
And
I just had an interesting idea. I know we're 45 minutes in, so nobody's probably watching this anyways, but I'll advertise this through other means. Maybe I'll even make a YouTube short out of this. If you play new at Pro Tour Amsterdam and you have Razor Reflex and Scar for your Scar in your list and you make top 16, I will PayPal you $100. That's how confident that I'm putting my actual money where my mouth is right here, that I believe that those combination of cards are correct in your list and I will help you.
shouldn't they pay you money?
Yeah, I think you're understating how much I like being right. I
Oh, yes,
really
yes.
like being
Okay, okay.
correct, Michael. I don't know if you ever knew that about me, but being right is worth every penny of $100. It's feels real good when you're right.
Okay.
You ever been right before?
Uh, I don't know. I've gotten some things that I feel like were right, but it's really hard to prove that it was correct, you know?
No, because I'm always right.
Yep. Yep. You're right, Roger. You're
There
right.
you go.
Yes.
Pro- Proves itself. I rest my case.
Uh,
But nobody's going to do it because they're all like, I want to play my way and Venomous Bite and Hiss, and I want to have broken, non functional turns in my new deck. That's the way I want to play. It's like, okay,
yeah.
have fun.
I'm actually realizing that that's a big part of why I stopped liking Icelander as much after the Amulet of Ice ban, because having 3 copies of Amulet of Ice, just like a blue that has Go again, it just makes it so much harder to brick on a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then after it got banned, it was a lot easier to brick on a hand.
Yeah, yeah. Just like it turns out you want your deck to have reasonable fail cases that when you aren't doing the thing, your deck is still good. Because when your deck is doing the thing, great, I'm happy for you. I'm glad
Yeah, you're just getting
I'm
them.
glad you are doing the thing your deck wants to be doing. Unfortunately, this is a card game where you will have variants and shuffled randomized cards where you will not always be doing the thing you want to be doing on a given turn cycle. So you should have a good plan for your floors, not just your ceilings.
Yep. Yep. Agreed.
Okay.
Hopefully, some people get that $100 from you. See 2 news in the top 16 with Scars and Razor Reflex. Oh.
Hopefully, we'll see. Do you want to talk about the controversy at the finals of the Kano v Prism at all? Did you hear about that?
Oh gosh. Is there a controversy? What I know the story. I know what happened.
I mean, yeah, the story
Because
in itself is pretty controversial.
okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, I'm gonna tell what I believe happened, or should you
No,
just
go
tell
for it.
it? Because you know. Okay. So it was Kano versus Prism, our buddy that we actually known since our Magic days, Adam Franzi, in the finals against Kano. I don't know his name, unfortunately. But what I believe happened was he was attacking with a yellow Herald of Ravages for 8, and the Kano cast an Aether Wildfire at some point in that turn, and it dealt damage, which means Herald of Ravages, when it hits, its arcane damage should be amplified by the damage dealt by Aether Wildfire, because any actions that deal arcane damage get their damage amplified for the turn when Aether Wildfire does damage on your opponent's turn. And Herald of Ravages does arcane damage when it hits. I believe that was missed by the players and the judges and was not caught until after the game, or at least brought up till after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, but I'm not positive about this, but I believe the arcane damage was lethal.
Mm-hmm. It would have
And
decided the
that
game.
and that's why it was like extra controversial. Because Aether Wildfire is not a trigger. It's not, you cannot miss the damage amplification. That's just like the game. It's like if I attack you with a Spinal Crush and you say no blocks, you can't take 6 damage. You have to take 9 damage.
Yeah, and apparently it's a new policy for LSS to not intervene on anything at any point in time for anything that's on a streamed game. And obviously, bystanders aren't allowed to intervene or interact with a thing. I think you could discreetly tell a judge or inform a judge about a situation, but it's not like in Magic the Gathering where if I saw you misresolve a card or I saw your opponent cheating or something like that, you could say, "Oh, could you please hold on? I want to call a judge just to make sure." Like I did that so much time, and I think that's kind of the most insidious thing about this is that when you see somebody cheating or like actively cheating, you can't do anything about it. You have to be like, that person's cheating. Sorry, I can't call a judge or help or do anything. Like if people have like actual malicious intents, can't do anything about it. You just have to sit there, be like, oh, yep, that person's cheating. Cool. That person's just, these two people are just not playing the game correctly. They're just misresolving damage. Cool. I just have to sit here and watch. Like I think that's the worst part
So
about the policy.
yeah, I do think you should be careful about throwing around the cheating word because people playing the game incorrectly is not inherently cheating. Cheating requires intent. You have to
Sure.
intentionally know you're breaking the rules to get an advantage. But someone is definitely gaining an advantage in this situation that they should not be gaining. And that is like the game's not being played correctly and not being able to do anything seems
Sure. So I'm not talking about this specific circumstance, but let's just say you're watching a game and you see your that opponent like do like just look through their deck, not shuffle, present it, like stack their deck, put things on top, and do something. What do you do?
if you see someone do that as you're when you're a
Yeah.
bystander. I imagine you step away from the table and say judge
Okay.
and raise your hand and a judge comes over and you explain to them what happened.
It leaves a really bad taste in my mouth, and I get not calling out triggers. Like if you specifically didn't want to have people like interfere, or triggers couldn't be interfered with for these types of things. And I believe this policy came from a stream overseas where the broadcasters misunderstood how Herald or Figment worked, and they're like, "Oh, that's not a trigger, we should stop the game and intervene." And then they stopped the game and what it was a trigger based on like the Figment entering play. And then the player realized because the game was stopped that they had missed their trigger and became that, and that's like
Yeah.
the genesis of like this whole policy. But when there's actively just misresolved game states fundamentally, it still feels like a bridge too far to not correct those game states.
Yeah, that something like the exact same situation or a very similar situation came up in an alpha class tournament where I'm like, uh, basically a trigger was missed and a player was like not sure if they were allowed to miss. A spectator was not sure if they were allowed to miss it and asked them to pause and call a judge. And by the time the judge got there, the players obviously realized what was missed. And I think like it's just not really clean no matter what because like if outs or if bystanders have the power to stop a game for what they believe is a rules infraction, then then what I guess it's going to happen unknowingly where they're going to stop the game for missed triggers or things that the players are allowed to miss. And
Sure, but I guess like
I just don't think there's a
maybe
good
it's just
answer.
too much of my Magic the Gathering upbringing and grinding that because I was doing it for literally close to a decade in Magic the Gathering. Like it's weird to
Yeah.
go back and say like, okay, you were doing something wrong there. Like that was actually not good for like the fundamental competitive
Yeah.
stake of the game. I don't know.
Well, Magic also they have their different rules enforcement levels.
Sure, but so
I
does
think they're
Flesh
called
and Blood.
real, but yeah, but in Magic you cannot do that at professional level events. You can do that at casual and competitive events, but not professional
That's
level
fair.
events.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's a tricky
It
situation.
just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm just one man with a podcast talking to a microphone. I can't actually influence any of these decisions. I also think Aether Wildfire should just be banned. Just get that card.
It is in Blitz.
Get it out of here. Like if it's this confusing and like also being a combo enabler while also leveraging opportunities for like people to just misresolve game states like this badly, like I don't know. Doesn't seem like a card that it should exist.
Yeah. We're also getting a new wizard set. We'll see if either of the new wizards can really like
Leverage it.
exploit Aether Wildfire. Yeah, leverage
Yeah.
it. It is a very, very powerful card.
Yeah. But oh well. I feel bad now. I feel like now I'm ending on a negative note. I don't want to end on a negative note. What's a happy note to end on?
Dude, Amsterdam is this weekend. It's going to be another huge tournament. I would say like even if you aren't super happy with the state of the game, like the meta game right now, I think like Flesh and Blood is doing organized play extremely well. They gave lots more notice for this tournament. It's sick. We already know where Worlds is, when Worlds is. We knew that like months ago. That this year's been great as far as like news for organized play, and I think that that is something that I really appreciate them doing, because they did not do a great job the first year we played, and they kind of took our feedback and they made a lot of improvement on that front. And I know they've been doing a good job for a while now, but that's a positive thing we can appreciate.
Yeah. But now you mentioned Worlds in that, and you made me sad because you're not going to Worlds.
I don't know if I'm going to Worlds yet.
You're,
I said I'm going to decide after Tampa.
you have another PTI now, though, right?
I do. I have 2 PTIs now.
Woo!
So many.
You can sell me one.
The term is gifting.
Everybody knows they're sold, though, right?
Yeah.
If you want to gift me one, sure. Yeah, please. You're right. I will be gifted one. If you die, can I inherit? Are they inheritable? Are PTIs an inheritable? Can I, if I say in my will, if I have a PTI, I leave this PTI to my son, Austin Bodee, in 20 years, can he redeem the PTI for like Pro Tour Mars or something like that?
Pro Tour Mars.
It's the future, man. They'll be playing Flesh and Blood in Mars. I don't know where I'll be, what's going to happen. That's forever. These are the kind of hard-hitting questions we need to find the answer to.
I know we are not taking the best care of our planet, but I cannot imagine Mars is a better place to live than Earth in 20 years.
We're terraforming, baby. We transform it. We just completely overhaul the entire ecosystem of an entire planet to go live there. Because if we could go and transform the entire ecosystem of a planet, why would we do that to Earth? This doesn't make any sense, Michael. You should go do it on that other planet over there.
That game's terraforming Mars, but on that note,
the next time you're terraforming Mars, always remember, mind your manners. Thanks for